Hey there folks, Shot here, and today we're going to take a look at Garbage Day. It's developed by a really hard name to pronounce, so I'm not even going to try. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check out the store Steam page and you can see the name there. But anyways, it is available on Steam at the regular price at around $15 USD. And keeping in mind, Garbage Day is currently in early access. Alright, so by all means I recommend checking out the Steam store page just to make sure you're nice and up to date, as by the time you watch this video things could have been changed and updated and added and all that kind of crazy stuff, right? But anyways, yes, Garbage Day is currently a sandbox game, although as you can see on the title screen there will be a story mode eventually. I don't know when, obviously. But it's about going out in your day and doing things. But the catch is you keep getting essentially teleporting back into the same day. It's similar to the concept of Groundhog Day, a very popular Bill Murray movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie. And this game kind of takes on that concept. And the whole goal, or at least the end goal of this game when it's fully developed, is to kind of figure out what's going on, why do you keep getting teleported back to the same day, etc, etc. But currently it's just a sandbox. Go out there and do whatever you want within a certain time frame before the day restarts, right? And obviously we're going to explore the game, so let's just start. We'll just go into Sandbox here. Alright, so every day you're going to start up just like this. You're going to wake up and you have this floating arm here. You can press Q and punch things, although it doesn't really do anything. I don't know why. You can also hold T and it'll bring up your watch and it'll tell you, what time it is and how much time you have left to essentially screw around in the world. And that's what this game is really all about. You pick up things like this book and this book and this book. You can flick it around. Some things are interactive, like this keyboard. You can press it and it'll do a bunch of stuff like that. It's just little minor things like that that you can do currently. You can open the fridge, I think. Yeah, you can. Okay, just like that, right? Anyways, let's step outside. And right here we have a selection of different weapons, in which we'll take the Uzi for the time being. There we go, just like that. So, what do you do in this game? Well, it's an open sandbox game, so you do whatever the hell you want. So right now, we're just being friendly. We're just going to explore the town a little bit. Hey guy, blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Right, so you're not really doing too much. You're just kind of exploring the world and doing random stuff like that. However, now that we have a gun, we probably want to shoot a bunch of dudes, so we'll do that. We want to shoot a bunch of dudes, just like that. Alright? And now the cops are after us, but that's okay. We got a gun. We can shoot back. And you can even hold V. That'll put you into slow motion mode. You can hold V in slow motion mode as long as you want. I've actually had a full playthrough of just slow motion. It's actually kind of interesting. Slow motion. Okay, I couldn't hit that guy for some reason. But yeah, this is basically the game. Just kind of go around exploring the world, see what the world has to offer, and kind of make your own fun, right? Now, that sounds fine in concept, right? It seems an interesting enough idea. But however, probably because this game's still in early access, because it's still very much in development, there's going to be a lot of stuff that holds that concept back, like these empty rooms that are clearly unfinished, right? Or this empty garage. And there's a lot of these. There's a lot of buildings that, it's nice that we can enter, but there's nothing to do in them, right? And even in the buildings where there is stuff to do, where there is stuff populated in said building, there's really not much to do here either. I mean, I can look at these cartons of milk and shoot them. That's about it. Sorry, storekeep, let's take all his money. Yeah. That's pretty much the extent of the interactivity of this game, really. So to say the least, this game is still extremely early in development, right? This is an early access game, so it does get some leeway, but for 15 bucks, there's really not that much to do here. You shoot a bunch of dudes, you can shoot a bunch of dudes in slow motion if you want. You know, and that's about it, really. I mean, there's a couple of other little things. Let me see if I can show you. There's a bank here somewhere. Let's rob a bank. Let's see. There's a shop there. There's a gas station, which there is nothing there. You can't even blow it up. There's no gas tanks or anything like that. You go inside, and I'll show you. I'll show you absolutely nothing, actually. Ta-da! Absolutely nothing, right? So, clearly the game is unfinished. Again, because this is in early access, it does get some leeway. But, you know, for 15 bucks, leeway or not, it's asking a lot for a game that doesn't really have a focus or a point to it other than kind of screwing around in an open world. And to be honest, this open world doesn't give the player all that much to do outside of exploring and shooting a bunch of people. I still haven't found a bank and all that kind of stuff. There's some chicken here, but you just shoot them and that's it, you know. They don't even do anything really. I mean, there's a car, you can kind of drive it around and run over people and run over different things. Yeah, so much fun. Woo. This is the kind of game where you can kind of play for about 15 minutes, get the gist of it, and then turn off forever. Right? And that's really, really unfortunate because I think the concept has potential. I think it does. I think once the story mode comes out, it might get a little bit better. It just needs a better focus on what it wants to do. And if this game wants to just be a sandbox for the time being, well, for God's sake, you got to give the players something to sandbox in, you know? Just destructible environments isn't good enough, you know, especially since the environment isn't even fully completed, right? I mean, there's a couple little other things, too. Let's see. I still haven't found a bank. It's here somewhere. Anyways, we're going to get out of here. We can go into the donut shop. This is probably the most entertaining and fun thing you can do in this game currently. You can go over here, hold the E button, or just keep tapping it, and you can order infinite donuts, or at least as much money as you have. So this is kind of fun, sort of, for a little while, for a second, just to see how much donuts you can fill this place up with. They're about $1 each. You can actually rob a bank, get around $20,000, so you can summon up or order up about 20,000 donuts, and that's kind of fun for a little while. That's as much fun as this game has to offer, unfortunately, right? Let's see. You can also explore. There's also a wilderness area as well. Let's see if I can find that again. Oh yeah, there's also a nuclear power plant. I guess I'll show you what's in there, which is nothing, as you would expect from this game. Okay, so we're in a nuclear power plant. Yeah, we can take the elevator, but you know what? We're going to just take the stairs so I can show you. So I'm just going to go up one floor because it's just this repeated over and over and over and over again. Okay, I'll show you 2 floors just to make my point across. Right? So, oh, the colors changed. Woo, but it's the same damn thing. You know? I mean, it's just not enough here. There's not enough to justify $15 price tag currently, right? There's not enough stuff to sandbox around. You can explore pretty much the full potential of this game, like I said earlier, within about 15 minutes. And that's not good enough. That's not $15 good enough. You know what I mean? Now let's talk about the graphics a little bit. It does take a more simplistic, kind of minimalistic approach to it, where the developer definitely has taken the ambient occlusion shader to its max potential. To be honest, the ambient occlusion shader that they've applied as a texture is not even all that great, to be honest. It doesn't look like it's been cleaned up at all. I do have some 3D modeling experience in the past, and I am also a lover of ambient occlusion as well. However, it does require some cleaning up, and you can tell it's not cleaned up through all these little like markings and all these little artifacts that comes out of the ambient occlusion shader. This stuff requires cleaning up when you're applying it to a finished project. And honestly, I don't think the developer has really done that. They just kind of, you know, made a model, put it into Maya or 3D Studio Max or whatever program that they're using, used the ambient occlusion shader and applied it, and then put on a color. And I can clearly tell that's pretty much what they've done, which is unfortunately kind of lazy, Now, fortunately for us, lazy or not, they have done a pretty good job at making the scenery and all that kind of stuff, the composition of the environment, fairly appealing to the eye, which is not a bad thing, right? It does look pretty decent, to be completely fair to this game. I actually kind of dig the visual style and aesthetics of the game overall. I just kind of wish that they put a little bit more effort, a little bit more detail into some of the models and textures. But my biggest problem isn't with the graphics or with the presentation. That's fine. I have no issues with it really, except for maybe some of the lazy texturing. But my biggest problem is the lack of gameplay. I mean, I understand that it's a sandbox. I understand that this is the kind of game that's not to be taken seriously. This is the kind of game where our time's up. We gotta start a new day. This is the kind of game where the player really makes their own fun, but you need to give the tools for the player to make that fun. I mean, let's take a look at, you know, Goat Simulator. Like, that's a pointless game that's just for the lulz as well. But that game, there's a lot of different crazy stuff you can do in that game to kind of make your own fun, right? Or even in Grand Theft Auto's multiplayer sandbox game, you know, there's absolutely a crazy amount of stuff that you can do just for fun in that game as well. And this game just lacks that. Like, like I said, all you can do is shoot people, or maybe not shoot people. Explore the world that has absolutely nothing to explore in, except for maybe a car and a lighthouse that I was trying to drive to. And once you reach that lighthouse, there's nothing in there, because I explored that area as well. In fact, around that lighthouse that I was driving to, if you go into the ocean, you can actually walk out off the map. Let me see if I can show you that. Let me get the car in. Where is it? Where is it? And another thing about this game too is, you know, they could have at least mixed it up with an RNG engine, you know? They could have mixed things up by making certain elements randomly generated, just to keep things interesting and varied, but it doesn't even have that. The game is completely pre-designed, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but if every single day the exact same things are in the exact same place and all the exact same events happen the exact same way, what's the point of me repeating the same day over and over and over and over again? There's no real point to it. I understand it's just for the lulz, but there's just not enough stuff for me to lull at. That's the problem with this game. There's just nothing really here. And charging $15 for an experience like this is way overpriced, you know? For the time being, if the developers happen to be watching, I highly recommend reducing the game's price to $5 maybe, to be something a little bit more reasonable. Just because it's just not enough here, you know? $5 price tag, some people might be able to ignore the emptiness of the gameplay. Maybe, but for $15, it's not an excuse. There's no excuse for it, right? Maybe when the game's finished, maybe when story mode's in, maybe when they add more stuff to the game, maybe when they add more sandboxy stuff for the player to fool around with, then maybe it could justify a price raise. And I've seen early access games that has raised the price as they added more content, and it's completely understandable. It's completely reasonable to do that, but to have the price at $15 for an incomplete game that has nearly no content that you can content that you can fully explore within literally minutes is absolutely unreasonable. I cannot recommend this game whatsoever to anybody, even for people who are just looking for the lulz, looking just for a little bit of fun. And by the way, there's no swimming. When you're in the water, you can't drown. You're just walking underneath the ocean like you were walking on land, except with a really annoying, you know, blurry effect. And that's the extent of it. That's the extent of it. So there's nothing to this game right now. Garbage Day has an interesting concept that I would love to see being built on. I would love to see this turn out to be a good game, but currently it's not. It's not a good game at all. And that's, I don't like to say that about any game, but there's just really nothing here, especially for $15. Is an unreasonable price tag for a game like this, you know? So that's Garbage Day, essentially. Oh man. Have I found the edge of the map yet? I will soon. Because you can totally walk off the map and then fall forever. And that's really, really lazy design, to be honest. Still going, though. Still going. Look at us not drowning, though. Look at us not drowning. Okay, maybe I'm not going to bother. There was an area where I was able to walk off the map, and I fell forever. I just restarted the game. And yeah, I'm done, guys. I can't really recommend Garbage Day at all, unfortunately. There's just not enough here to justify a $15 price tag. And there it is. So there you go. We'll end the video here. There's the whole map. You can see it. Yeah, this game needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work. A lot of work. It needs more tools for the sandbox. It needs that story mode. It needs a focus. And it needs to be completed. There's a lot of incomplete assets here, as you can clearly see. Anyways, folks, that's about it. That's Garbage Day. I definitely do not recommend it, especially at its current price tag. Get Ghost Simulator instead. Thanks for watching, everyone. Alder shoutouts.